Hey everybody, it's Diane Gale here from the blog and YouTube channel Sustainable Slow Living, and today you and I are going to make some garlic herb butter. This butter is fantastic and it takes whatever dish you use it in to the next level. It's very popular in steakhouses. They serve it on top of steak. And I'm not going to lie, I have yet to try that, but I certainly do intend to. It seems a little weird to me to have butter on top of steak, but it's probably fabulous. This is super easy to make. We are going to make 3 different kinds today. We're going to make a cayenne, we're going to make a dill, and we're going to make a mustard. We're going to use a powdered mustard. The dill I intend to use for seafood, and the cayenne I intend to use for chicken and pork, and the mustard for steak. But you can use them interchangeably. You can put them on veggies, you can put them on popcorn, you can put them on potatoes, mashed, baked, fried. You can, oh my gosh, like the possibilities are just endless. You can just put them on your toast. You can slather them over bread and make toasted bread, like, you know, like a garlic bread. They're out of this world and they're super easy to make. So like I said, we're going to do 3 today. I'm going to show you how easy they are. I have made these before, but I have never used measurements. So today I'm going to use measurements as I'm making them. For each compound butter that I'm making, I'm using half a pound. I was able to score some fresh butter from a Mennonite farm down the road. I'm going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, the salt, you have to decide what you want to do for yourself. If you use salted butter, most people don't add salt to, you know, as an extra to their butter. If you use unsalted butter, then you're probably going to want to put like half a teaspoon of salt in a half a pound of butter. And that's probably how I'm going to call for the recipe to be done on the blog, because I think that that will suit most people. For me, even though I'm not supposed to have a lot of salt, I am a salt lover, and I am going to use salted butter, and I'm still going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there. And then for the dill, for the mustard, and for the cayenne, I'm going to use a tablespoon in each, you know, a tablespoon of each seasoning in its own butter. And we're going to see how that works out so that I can get some measurements on the blog. I think it's going to be perfect. The cayenne might be just a little bit too spicy. So you guys, there's nothing to this. And I did all that talking about salt, and I did all that talking about the spices, and I never even mentioned the roasted garlic. And that is one of the stars of the show here. So we're going to put roasted garlic in these 2. First thing I'm going to do here is put that 1/4 teaspoon of salt in each one of these butters. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to do a tablespoon of cayenne in one, a tablespoon of dill in another, and a tablespoon of powdered mustard in another. And then let's talk a little bit about the roasted garlic. So, I got ahead of myself. I was talking about the seasonings, and I didn't tell you that, first of all, you want your butter to be at room temperature. You definitely don't want it to be hard to stir. And secondly, you need to roast your garlic ahead of time. So you're just going to buy a bulb of garlic. You're going to slice it in half across the width. You're going to put a little bit of oil on the top of it. And then you're going to take and you're going to put it in a tinfoil pouch. Just make a little tinfoil pouch and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, and then open the pouch and leave it in there for another 15 minutes until it's brown. And you will have fabulous roasted garlic. If you're only making 1 compound butter, you might have a little bit of extra garlic, but that's okay. Don't worry about that, because let me tell you, you can put that in your mashed potatoes, you can put it on a slice of toast in the morning. You can put it in one of your veggies. It is fabulous on corn on the cob, or even just, a dish of hot corn on your dinner table one night, and you're going to enjoy it. So if you have any left, you'll just put it in your fridge. I have already roasted my garlic, and for each one of these dishes, I'm going to put about 4 full cloves of garlic. So your garlic is cut in half. You're not going to want to just take 4 cloves out of 1/2 and consider it done. You're going to want 4 full cloves. You're not going to get the exact match on each side. So a little bit of it is guesswork, but you're shooting for 4 cloves of roasted garlic in each one of your compound butters. So here we go. I've got 4 halves to start here. I'm going to toss these toward the side of the bowl because we're going to crush them up. Once you've roasted these, they are just going to fall right out of the skin. You won't have any trouble removing them from the skin at all. Now you could go ahead and you could mush these all, this garlic, you could have crushed it all, in a separate dish. But I feel like it's just as easy to crush it up and start getting things mixed up here together right in one dish. You can also do this with a handheld electric mixer, like an electric blender. You can toss this into your food processor. But you know me, I tend to do things the old-fashioned way. I enjoy doing it that way. So that's the route that I tend to go. And then once I have it all pretty well mixed together, I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to go through it to check for cloves of garlic that maybe didn't get crushed up like they should have, and make sure that they get crushed up at this point. Okay, you guys, so I felt like I needed a little bit more garlic, and I went ahead and crushed some more up on the tin foil that I roasted the garlic in, and I'm just going to distribute it here. So I'm actually going to call for about 6 cloves of garlic in this recipe. It wasn't garlicky enough for me. If you have been around for a while, then you know that I like a lot of garlic. I'm going to go ahead and mix all of those up, and then I'll be back because I want to show you how to roll them. So I've got those all mixed up and we're ready to roll them. I want to show you how to do that. But before I do, I want to talk to you about the butter. Obviously, if all you can manage to get is some inexpensive butter, it is better to have that than to have nothing at all. But if you're able to get some really good quality butter, it makes all the difference in the world in this recipe, which is why I went for the Farm Fresh Mennonite butter. And the garlic is the same way. Not that the seasonings aren't. Quality seasonings are important, but the garlic is very important. And if you have a favorite garlic, then you should use that. Garlic has, there's more of a variance in different types of garlic than people realize. So find something that you love, start looking for a garlic you love, and then when you make your compound butter, use that garlic. Now let me show you how to roll these. Alright you guys, so to roll these we're going to use a little bit of cling wrap, plastic wrap. I am not going to lie, I have never rolled them before. I have read how to do it. We're going to see how it works out. We're going to take this, and you don't want to get it all over the plastic. You want to kind of form a little bit of a log with it. while you're putting it on there. Because, well, it's butter. And it's slippery. So there we go. Kind of form it in a little bit of a log. I can hear my sister and her grandson upstairs. And then you're going to want to sort of roll it into a log the best that you can. There we go. Now I'm going to put this in the freezer, and then once it's frozen, I'm going to pull it out, and you and I are going to slice some off in like they'll be like coins, like medallions, and we're going to have a taste. But there we go, you guys. This is how you want, oh, I keep going the wrong way with, this is how you want to wrap them up. So I'm just getting ready to take those medallions out of the freezer so that we can have a taste and so that you can see what they look like when they're sliced up. I wanted to let you know that when I worked out the measurements, as I told you before, it ended up to be 6 cloves of garlic to half a pound of butter. I used 1/4 teaspoon of salt for already salted butter. You can adjust that accordingly. And then it was 1 tablespoon for the cayenne. It was 1 tablespoon for the dill, but it took me 3 tablespoons for the powdered mustard to get a really good flavor. So that is how the recipe will read on the blog. And I've already suggested to you some ways that you can use this compound butter. You can use it any way that you use butter, as long, you know, if you just want a little extra seasoning, a little extra spice. This is a terrific way to preserve herbs from your garden. And I haven't had the pleasure of doing that quite yet, but I am going to do that in the future for sure. When you are sitting there with all of those herbs at the end of the season, there is no reason not to make them into compound butter and put them in the freezer, and you can use them all year long. I have only ever done it with dried herbs, and I have never rolled them and frozen them before, as I've already said. That is going to be a new experience for me. Generally, I make a batch of them, like a half a pound of butter like I did here today, and then I keep it in the refrigerator. And it'll last in the refrigerator for 10 to 15 days, and that's plenty of time to find ways to use it on the dinner table or to put it over popcorn at night. So that's all that I've ever done. Freezing it is going to be a new experience. You and I are going to see together how that works, but everyone is doing it, so I'm sure it works great. And also know that today we have made very simple compound butters. We have done roasted garlic and another spice, and the salt, of course. But you can get as fancy as you want. I have seen them done with 2 or 3 spices and Worcestershire sauce to put on top of steak. I've seen them done with 2 or 3 spices and lemon juice to put on top of fish. So there are all kinds of things that you can add to them, and you can also make them sweet. You can do them with cinnamon sugar. You can do them with maple syrup and cinnamon, honey and cinnamon. You can do them with honey and orange zest. You can do them just any way that you can think of that you like to make them sweet. They're even doing them with fruits, although I didn't look at how they're doing that, but they're doing them with strawberries and stuff. And then you can take and you can put them on fresh biscuits, or you can put them on like pumpkin bread or banana bread or pancakes or French toast. You know, you can put them in sweet things, croissants, which is really savory, I guess, butter. But yeah, they've got to be fabulous. I know that there are restaurants that do honey and cinnamon and sugar in their butters and serve it with bread baskets before their meals, and it is outstanding. So don't let your imagination limit you. You can check on the blog to get more information about substitutions that you can make. There will be a link down below as always, and I'm going to come back when those are frozen and we're going to get a taste. Okay, you guys, the moment of truth has arrived. The compound butter has frozen nice and solid. And what I'm going to do, so that you know in the future, is I'm going to keep it wrapped in this plastic wrap and put it in a freezer Ziploc baggie as well to protect it, to keep it in the freezer. And then I'll take it out and I'll slice it into medallions whenever I want to use it. But this morning I've decided that we will try the mustard one. I don't have anything ready to go with it because I'm not in my own space. So I don't have like a meal prepared to try this. So we're going to try it on a slice of sourdough toast because I want to see what it tastes like. So that is going down for the second time in the toaster, and as soon as it's done we're going to give it a try. But let's see how easy this is to slice. It looks like all in all the plastic wrap is going to come off of it pretty easily. It's stuck in there a little, but that makes perfect sense because the butter, of course, was, you know, soft when it went in there. But there we go, right there, a nice log of compound butter. And let's see how she slices. Okay. I mean, all in all, I think that's pretty easy coming off of there. I sliced it a little too thin, but it looks like it's going to make medallions without a problem. And these are going to be really pretty if they're laid out, like if you have guests for dinner or if you're having a party, you can slice these medallions and kind of lay them out over a board or a dish for people to use, you know, on their meal or their crackers if you're doing appetizers or whatever it is that you're doing. So here is part of that sourdough toast. I'm going to set that on there so it warms up a little bit, and I'm going to grab a butter knife. Now we're at a little bit of a disadvantage because normally what we would do here is we would slice this and then we would let it warm up to room temperature a little bit. This is very frozen butter, so it's going to take a little bit of maneuvering for me to get it spread out on this toast. I had to cut my toast in half to fit it in the toaster. But there we go. And since I needed to cut my toast in half, let's try another one as well. How about if we try the dill? All right, you guys, there we go. And like I said, you're not going to have any trouble spreading it because you're going to let your butter thaw. I am not letting my butter thaw right now for the purposes of this video, so I had a little trouble getting it spread there, but it's ready to go. Let's have a taste. All right, you guys, a bon appetit. Mustard first. Very good flavor. Oh my goodness. I am just dreaming of flavored garlic bread all winter long. So good. So very good. Let's move on to dill. I wish I had like some club soda or something to cleanse my palate. That mustard is delicious. It has a bit of a bite to it. Let's see how the dill is. Also perfect. Would be so fabulous on seafood. Loving this. So, Garlic butter medallions. Super easy to make. Make them ahead. Get them in your freezer so that you have them on hand. And they are going to bring many, many, many of your meals to the next level. I hope that you're going to make yourself some. And I'm so glad that you joined me here today. And you and I are going to get together again, and we're going to do it really soon.